Close to the stove and to the sink. Let's see what happens when we get a little bit closer. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. You can see the bottoms and the tops gets kind of really roughed over. This door is kind of bespeckled with all sorts of little stuff there. Here's my first attempt at sorting this out. I just kind of painted over top of everything and it turned out to be pretty lousy. So I'm going to have to work on this. Okay, you can see that to level it I'm using this blade, and it does a pretty quick job. So this is the way to get it all relatively smooth, and then I'll be doing sandpaper on this thing. So after going through, looking a whole lot better now, I've gone through 60, 120, 150 and 400 sandpaper, and it's looking pretty smooth compared to what it was before. Okay, so I'm adding on that sealant right now. I'm just going to turn this off, but basically, yeah, a little bit at a time and then smooth it right out and work it in. Seems like it's doing pretty good here, so otherwise I'm just going to give it a try and maybe switch to a different brush. See how it goes. Okay, I'm just waiting for this to dry. I used the roller and it seemed like it did a nice smooth finish, better than what I could get with the brush, the sponge brush or regular brush. So this is looking pretty decent at this point. And I used the same roller on this one here, and that corner piece here is looking pretty decent. I get a different angle on here. I get a lot of glare. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this so far. Okay, I've taken these double doors off and they're in pretty sad shape. I'll just zoom in a little bit here where you can see it's spots all over the place. Boy, it's seen better days. Okay, so I'm going to get the file out and sandpaper and spatula and go to work. I've actually grabbed one of these files that I mentioned and use that as well to speed up the job. Okay, so I'm going to be trying to get this bulge out, so I make a longer blade and then I can just kind of slide it, bend it, and then just kind of cut it flush. That makes it a whole lot less sanding and filing down. Oops. Like that. Pretty big piece that came off. So now I use this file. It gets rid of a lot more of those chunks. It's good for little corners like this. Okay, so now I'm going to get some rough sandpaper and just work on that. Alright, here's the finished product. I just finished painting it using that roller brush, and you can see it looks a whole lot nicer already. Alright, then I'll just have to hang it up and it's good to go. So this is the finished product, and it looks completely different than before. These two cabinets were the worst off overall, and right now they're pretty darn good from this distance. This is another drawer, and I'm going to begin by using the scraper. I'm going to just try to move everything off as much as I can with this, and then afterwards I'm just going to use the blade, and basically I just kind of slide it so that it's even, and I get rid of all the ridges that are there. Okay, now you can see that I scraped away a lot of that stuff and it's fairly flush, but now I'm going to use a sandpaper routine and get it to be nice and level. This 60 grit sandpaper, that seems like it really flushes it down. Then I jump to this. This is about 120, maybe 150. Okay, then I jump to the quick seal and put some on using this spatula. That's a real good combination. I've used a paintbrush with the quick seal, but doesn't do as nice of a job. So the spatula is good. And then afterwards, I use this porcelain paint. If it's color matched, it's great. You can get everything, all the stuff at Home Depot. But to get things started on a new piece, you can just use a scraper and just get rid of some of this loose stuff before using sandpaper to smooth it all out. But you want to make it level, okay, as much level as possible. So you do have to take out some material, take it right off because it's swollen. 60 grit sandpaper to clean up and smooth out a little bit more, and then I'll slowly go into a higher grit to make it as smooth as possible. And of course you should try to avoid hitting this paint here, because otherwise you're going to make more work for yourself. Okay, so now I'm going with 150 sandpaper, and then I end up finishing the sanding with a 400 grit. Quick seal again, and I'll use the spatula to spread this around. Okay, I'll stop there and work it in. Okay, so I've put on the white material, but basically it dries clear in a little while. Okay, so here's a drawer I pulled out, and you can see a lot of marks on it. I think there were some cats or dogs that got into scratching up all of this in the middle here. The rest of it at the top is all done by moisture. Okay, I'll see what happens here when I sand things down, and I will be sealing it. Okay, I went through all the sanding procedures, going from 60 to 80 to 120, 150, and then 400. And I put down the seal, and I'm just going to spread it around with a spatula and let her dry. Okay, now this piece has now been sealed, and it is ready for paint. Okay, that's done. Now I'm using these different files. I'm finding this one here in particular is pretty good for the corners. So I just work them down very quickly with this really coarse file. Because the whole file, this is the whole idea, is to make it level. Or even bring it down a little bit lower, so that when you put in the seal, it'll make it nice and smooth. That sort of idea.